If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Central Valley Talk. My name is Ray Johns, and I'm your host. And the name of my show is Voices Not Yet Heard. And like we say every week, we hope we'll be the vehicle so that that voice can be heard. If you're watching me now, we're live. If you watch me later, if you happen to view me later, we'll be a rebroadcast. I apologize ahead of time for this somber note, but our thoughts and prayers go out to those two slain law enforcement officers in Des Moines. They won't be having turkey with their families this year or opening Christmas presents around the living room, and I think that is so sad. How long, ladies and gentlemen, are we going to put up with these liberal judges letting these people out? I understand that this idiot was released a month or so before for another violent crime, and now they've caught him. Unfortunately, they caught him instead of shooting him. But, it just upsets me so much that these people get out and they hurt the people that are trying to protect us. On a lighter note, how about them Chicago Cubs? Everybody knows what a baseball nut I am. I've always loved the New York Yankees on the East Coast, and my West Coast team, of course, is the Giants. But I, like the world, I was rooting for the Chicago Cubs, and that was exciting. They're already proclaiming it to be the best World Series ever, and it's certainly the best one I've ever said. And on a personal note, I have played in the Men's Adult Baseball League for the last 12 years. I've coached and played. In the last 2 years, because of my accident, I haven't been able to play. So I got some great news yesterday that I'm going to be able to coach and play next year, and I'm playing one more year before I retire. So thank you. I'm excited about that. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit today about what's going on. But before I do that, I'm going to bring Gary Clemente in here. How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you, Ray.
Good to have you back.
You bet.
The polls are tightening, as you all know, and it's just exciting. Donald Trump calls it a movement. I call it an American facelift. Gary, let's hear something from you, because I know you've always got something good to say.
Well, it's been an exciting week, to say the least, and I think that the polls are rigged, so you have to take that with a grain of salt one way or other. But I think now, I kind of noticed that both of them want the polls to be close. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise voters would not show up to vote.
Donald Trump said that the other day.
Right. And I got a kick out of that. But I go to a lot of polls that are private polls in the internet. When I say private, they're or organizations of people that aren't the mainstream. And I can't find a poll that doesn't have Trump way ahead.
I know it.
And I'm thinking, and then I come up with not everybody goes to the internet. Not everybody does this.
That's true.
And then, but then I say, well, okay, let's look at another indicator. And the other indicator would be the crowd that Trump draws at his rallies, as opposed to the crowd, or compared to the crowds.
Yeah, we were talking about that. You and
that
I.
Hillary and what's his name, Kane.
Kane, or her vice president.
He had a rally the other day. I mean, it was like going to a tailgate at a football game. And he's standing there.
I love it.
There's 20 people there.
I'm going to ask you, I don't know if you saw President Obama today. I wish I'd been in the audience. I would have shouted out. They probably would have arrested me. Yeah. But, he stood in front of the American people, and he was, tooting his own horn, as he always does. And he says, well, we brought the troops back from Iraq. I said, I wanted to say, yeah, you did. And look at the result of that. We got ISIS to thank you for that, But, of course, he's not going to say that, you and Hillary.
Well, he's so out of touch of anything, it's just almost impossible to listen
how
to
can
anything
he stand in front of the American people and talk about how good the economy is when people are living from paycheck to paycheck?
Well, as an example, since he's been in office, the number of blacks on unemployment is almost double.
It has doubled. Well, you're right. It's 3.5%. It's 3.5%. as opposed to when he took office. 95 million Americans out of work, ladies and gentlemen.
You know,
95 million. And that just blows me away.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, is he so arrogant that he thinks everybody out there is stupid?
Apparently he does.
Well, apparently he does, you know. And then it gets back to where, you know, you could fool. People that voted for Obama obviously got fooled. That's the bottom line. And he had the gift of being able to do that. But that's why it takes a lot of, and you mentioned every single show, that's why people have to take the responsibility and due diligence.
You have to do 5 days left, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. 5 days.
No matter who you are. And because you can't have a democracy continue without a certain intelligentsia among the population of the country.
Absolutely.
You know, and now people can get brainwashed, which we know that, and that's been a process in the last probably 40, 50 years with our school system. Because if we were to go to school today, we wouldn't recognize it, you know.
You know, this happened so suddenly. I mean, I didn't know. Actually, you told me that. I didn't know. I'm so far removed from that genre. I didn't know that they didn't recite the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. What is happening to our country? We're being taken over. We're adhering to other people. This is America, you know.
Well, it's part of the process that where you have for lack of a better word, a communist style that may not be in the form of the old communism, but a communist style of where government controls everything we do, period. I mean, it gets to the point which countries have experienced that, which is, we name any communist country you wish, China, Russia, Venezuela, name on, where the people are just, they're just objects. And unless you know somebody or something like that, somehow you're involved there, basically everything is done for you. And you're told when to be here. Well, for instance, I'll give you an example. Well, it'll be your last name begins with a J. Well, that's your day to go down to the supermarket on Wednesday. That's the day you can go down there and get groceries.
No other day, just that day.
Yeah, just that day.
Can you imagine living like that?
Well, people do live like that because they had the same thing happen to them, which we've seen been happening to us, but it's not all of a sudden. It's a gradual thing. And the gradual goes back, I could take this back, in my mind, goes back maybe 50, 60 years. And it really accelerated probably once the Clintons were in office in the 90s. And now we have Obama, but we had Bush. Well, that was the same thing.
Sure it was.
A Bush and a Clinton is the same. There's no difference between that.
They've rallied up together now, haven't they?
They've rallied up together now, which is proof that, because that's part of what they call the uniparty or the establishment elites, you see. Now, and basically, especially Clintons, they're basically tools of these establishment elites.
Of course they are.
Well, what do they want? They want the most crooked person they could get. I mean, that's to their advantage.
That's why they're so against Donald Trump.
Well, of course.
Donald Trump can't be bought.
No, and
their special interest. That's got to be some of that's got to be
it's so
paid back.
plain, you know. And I look at, I can't see why people can't see that, but I guess they just can't.
That's what's so frustrating, Gary.
Yeah, it is frustrating.
I was thinking about it the other night, and you know, I talked to a lot of people in between shows, and you know, this week I just talked to a young man who happens to be Hispanic, and he told me, he said, my wife and I, are struggling more than we've ever struggled. You know, when things were better, we bought a home, and now we can barely pay for this home.
Right.
You know, and he said, and I get more compliments for wearing my Donald Trump shirt, which I wear every day. There isn't a day, Gary, that I don't wear this, that 3 or 4 or 5 people don't come up and shake my hand because I'm wearing this.
That's funny.
That tells you something.
Well, you're funny you mention that because I wear a Trump hat. You know? Every now and then somebody comes up and says, "Oh, you're voting for Trump?" And I said, "Well, I was raised to have too much respect for myself that there's no way I could vote for a criminal, corrupt, crooked."
Good for you, Gary. I love it. I love it.
Incompetent person for president of the United States. Now, how about you? Who you voting for?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But they're not going to say anything. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to say. They're not going to then say, "Oh, I'm voting for." They're not about to say that.
All of a sudden, they got something. Whoa! I'm late.
You know, but it does make you wonder. I mean, her following to me, and it's dwindling, by the way. Thank goodness to the Wiener and those guys. I wonder if anybody's actually called Wiener a Wiener. Somebody should have, because he's a Wiener. But I'll tell you what, I thank him.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Well, I'm grateful too, and I think everybody that's on this side of the ledger is. But
I am so happy that this thing is changing. I can't tell you. I almost called you the other day, and I got another phone call, and then I forgot. I was gonna because I was just elated when I got up and started looking at the polls.
yeah. But the thing about the Weiner, had he not had that, of course, he obviously didn't think he was anything. But it's really interesting. Trump talked about Weiner way back last spring about what a no good son of a gun he was.
I'm surprised that.
Well, Trump the one ought to send him a president,
Yeah,
right?
doggone right, he should. I'm surprised that Trump himself didn't refer to him as a wiener. Wiener the wiener. We are grateful. Thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Wiener.
and that puts that human now in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to probably see both Republican and Democrats. You're going to see a lot of people who are being jeopardized or in jeopardy, I should say.
Yeah.
Right now, it could be facing jail. Now you'll see the rats start leaving the ship. In fact, we're already starting to see it.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing like the FBI. There basically was a mutiny going on there.
Oh yeah, the agents were rebelling. You know, they were appalled at what.
Because you got a lot of patriots there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you go into that kind of business,
you do.
you automatically,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of people now that have been unable to do anything or say anything because of their careers, but they're going to be coming out. And then at the same time, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be looking at possible jail time and saying, well, wait a minute, this is...
You know,
Yeah.
Gary, I was thinking about something. I want to see what you think about this. I probably should have ran it for you before the show, but I'm going to ask you out right now. You know, I don't think Comey had a choice. I think Comey is saving himself.
Of course.
You know,
No, I agree with that.
Yeah,
100%.
I think absolutely he's looking out for Comey.
Well, way back when, he was a attorney for this firm. It was a aircraft, I forget the name, but I want to say Marietta, but I'm not right on that. But anyway, he had a connection with the Clintons going way back.
I knew it had gone back when he was a prosecutor, but this is even before that.
Well,
isn't it?
this was when he was an attorney for this firm at the time, and they wanted this contract, and so they went to Comey, who was an employee of theirs, you know, and he went, and because of his connection with Clinton, I'm just going to make it short, he went and he received $6 million for this when it was said and done.
Comey did?
Comey did.
Oh my goodness, Gary!
Let's put it this way: $6 million. How much of it he got, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I've heard that he got $6 million.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he split that up among some other people, but still.
And then that's how he got that for that airline, that company to get the contract, because he'll.
$6 million that probably went into the infamous Clinton Foundation.
Either that, and maybe they split it, or maybe I've heard both ways. I've heard that he got it all, you know, and then. But he's got that tie-in with the Clintons, and so he's compromised. Oh my God! I mean, that guy, he's between the rock and the hard place right now, if there ever was.
Oh gosh, is he ever? Yeah.
And
his career is basically over after
well,
this.
he's over. I mean, who in the world respects a guy like that?
No.
Another one's in the same boat with basically the same thing, is Loretta Lynch.
Oh yes,
She's toast, you know.
And you and I were talking about the tarmac months ago, remember?
Yeah.
And now they're all talking about it. You know, it was obvious to us what happened.
Yeah, and really, when you think about it, let's try to keep it real simple, and let's see how obvious this is. Clinton Foundation has been around, right? She's Secretary of State. And let's just go through this a little bit without going any further. All we know is this much. We know that she's getting paid, say, $250,000 a year to be Secretary of State. Okay, now how do you get $350 million into your foundation, of which 5% of that, 6% of that, goes to
supposedly charities, right?
Charity, right? And then in Haiti, those people were supposed to get all this. They didn't get anything. Clinton's pocketed all that.
Sure he is. Sure they are. Right into the foundation.
So right there, doesn't that raise a little curiosity?
Well, it should.
Saying, well, wait a minute, how does somebody get that rich by working for the government?
Nobody I know, unless.
Unless.
You know.
Well, and the unless is obvious, isn't it? Well, then that should be enough, shouldn't it?
Absolutely, it should.
And
Gary.
so then you say, well, wait a minute, what am I doing thinking that somebody that crooked and that compromised of themselves with that low a character, where's my decency?
You know, we
How
said
in the
it.
world do I vote for somebody like that?
You know, ladies and gentlemen, we say it every
You ought to
single
be
week.
embarrassed.
Yes, she should be embarrassed.
Jesus.
You know, we say every week, almost every week, that a vote for Hillary Clinton is 8 more years of Obama. You know, this country's already struggling. We're struggling, paycheck to paycheck. Like I said, 95 million Americans out of work, unemployment at an all-time high, a $20 trillion deficit that grows by tens of millions every single day. You know, this country cannot keep going in this direction. It has to stop, and that starts with me, that starts with Gary, and it starts with you. Please, you got 5 days. Get out and vote, and you really don't have a choice, okay? You really do not have a choice if you want to bring prosperity back to this country.
Well, and if you're so humble that you're thinking about yourself, think about your grandkids.
Absolutely.
You know, you say, well, that doesn't matter to me. Well, let's just think about some people that it does matter to.
Or that it will certainly matter to.
Absolutely. And a lot of it is awareness. I got these friends of mine at this, it's called Beauty Box in Hanford, and these two ladies in there, and there was this, they're both black, and this lady, she says, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. And I thought, oh man, I'm going to have I don't have that much time, you know.
That was your natural invitation. I'm going to jump right in the middle of this.
So I told her like this. I said, well, that's going to be easy for you to decide.
These ladies are both African American, Black American?
I call them American blacks.
The American blacks.
America first. And so anyway, I said, well, I'll make it real simple. I said, let's just pretend that you was born 150, 160 years ago, and you find yourself on a plantation, and you find yourself born a slave. I said, but all of a sudden, they pass out this piece of paper, and you have two choices. You can click one, free, or you can click one, remain a slave. I said, which one are you going to pick? And she says, well, obviously, I'm going to pick the freedom. I said, then why don't you do it now?
Absolutely. Great analogy. I love that.
Why don't you do it now?
I love it.
And I says, because Trump represents a free republic, Clinton represents a communist-style dictatorship.
Oh,
and
man.
and a corrupt one at that.
Absolutely.
All the way up and down to everything's corrupt, and that's what ultimately happens with a communist country, and the citizens suffer tremendously. Okay, and now who suffers the most? I guarantee you, it's going to be the people that thought they made the decision to vote for that. That's
Sure.
how they get in. That's called the useful idiots. Now,
I remember you talked about that.
right, and like this gal, the only thing, and she told me like this. She says, you know, I just wasn't aware, and I said, well, that's all right. You are now.
Yeah.
And she said, well, thank you.
I love your
she was
analogy.
sweet as heck.
Yeah.
She says, you know, you don't come in here very often. Well, I come here to get a haircut once a month or so. She says, there's a reason good Lord sent you in here to me.
See?
and
there was. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a little break here right now, and we'll be back in, say, 2 and 2. Okay, I'm back with my buddy Gary Clemente. Now, we're going to get back to being serious here real quick, but before we do, I want to read you something. Now, I hope you get much a kick out of this as I did making it up. I know Gary will because he's an athlete and a baseball player. But in lieu of what happened last night with the Chicago Cubs, I was so excited. I made out a Republican lineup, Gary, and this is it. I think you'll get a kick out of this. Trey Gowdy leading off, playing shortstop. Dr. Ben Carson hitting second, playing second base. Mike Pence hitting third at third base. Newt Gingrich in the squat doing the catching, hitting cleanup. Chris Christie in right field. Paul Ryan at first base. Condoleezza Rice in left field. Mike Huckabee in center field, and Donald Trump on the mound doing the pitching.
I love it.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
I love that.
You know, I'm going to once again say it because, you know, we've got 5 days left, okay? And everything's going our way, ladies and gentlemen. But I heard Donald Trump say this morning, you know, don't think about that. He said, and in fact, what he said was, act like we're way, way behind and we need your vote. So get out there and vote. You know, act like we're way behind. We're not, but pretend that. Go vote. Do not stay home. Please go vote. Your future, and like Gary told me, your grandchildren's future depends on what happens on November 8th. 5 days. Go out and vote. And I think you know who to vote for.
Well, you know that the critical part of this is probably at its most critical point since the Civil War. And there was people that just lackadaisical then, in the Revolutionary War. There was people that was lackadaisical then. They didn't realize the historic significance that this would be down the road.
Yeah, they were totally unaware, weren't they?
And they didn't realize how important it would be for them one way or another. It could have been a disaster if these things hadn't turned out the way they did.
Sure.
So this point where we're at right now, it's critical, and there's people that really understand it to be so. I just feel it, you see it, and
And
so
you see
forth.
it in the movement. Like I said, Donald Trump calls it a movement. I call it an American facelift.
Right. And you just can feel it by just talking to people and stuff. And at one time, I'd get challenged with, I was talking about wearing that hat, right? Boy, now nobody says anything, and then there's some people I haven't seen in a long time or something. I don't even want to discuss it because I don't want to embarrass them.
Oh, and the same thing happened to me. When I first started wearing my Trump shirts, I'd get a little resistance. Not much.
Right.
Not much. It was like nothing compared to the people that came up and wanted to shake my hand.
Right.
And now I don't get any resistance to anything. Nobody says anything. They may look at me and roll their eyes or something, but they won't say anything.
Well, I just soon not ask somebody that I think might be a Clintonite.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I don't want to. I know they'd feel embarrassed.
Oh, yeah.
So I just keep that away.
And those that do say, you're voting for Trump, I said, I wish I could vote for him 25,000 times. I'll say something ridiculous like that.
Well, that's it. And it's a special time for the nation, of course. And there's going to be so many changes.
This is so historic.
And it's going to be exciting, and it is exciting. So we got 5 more days. And
5 days.
Enjoy it for all we can. And but I think the American people are really have awakened themselves. And you're going to have isolated situations, but I mean, how do you sit there and look at that where Trump's sitting there? They can't even can't get him in the stadium, can't get him in the auditorium or anything else. He's got so many people there. And then here's old Mike Pence. He's getting the crowd, and Ivanka Trump.
She spoke today, yeah.
And then the wife spoke today. She gave a beautiful speech.
Yes.
Man, it was almost kind of a hard tug.
I wish I'd caught that.
Well, because she was,
I'll catch it tonight.
She's an immigrant. And so she comes from that point of view, and the way she expressed it and her love for America and stuff, it kind of...
She's very articulate.
Oh, she's great. And I thought, wow, that woman is going to be a tremendous asset for us all,
You know something else, Gary, I wanted to talk to you about. Hillary Clinton's got the president working for her. She's got all these people out campaigning for her, Michelle Obama, all these high-profile people. Donald Trump does all this on his own with his family. I know he's got Newt Gingrich
Well, here's who Hillary really has. It's the most important thing of all that she has, and that is she does have the mainstream press.
Yeah.
Like
96.6%.
96.6%.
Absolutely. That's her best ally right there.
And they have let us down. Now, isn't it sad that it takes a WikiLeaks, this guy from Sweden over there in the Ecuador embassy, to educate the people in the United States? Shouldn't that be the job of our press?
Absolutely. Hannity said years ago, he said, journalism is dead in this country.
Yeah.
And it is.
Oh, it's just an extension of liberals, of the liberal, and they control the media. So don't go looking for your press to be objective about anything. Thank God for this guy he's from Sweden, I guess.
Yeah.
Otherwise, none of this we would know.
We would know.
Right. And it is awareness. How do you know something?
Until it was too late and she was in the White House.
Of course.
And then we're all doomed.
Right. And I think of anybody, obviously, they're after him because he did this. He should have a statue put up for him.
Absolutely, he should. I agree.
Now, that's a brave... And he's not even an American citizen.
I worry about his safety.
Oh, I do too, and I think the guy should be thanked. And how else would we know?
Yeah,
because that is the facts that he's coming out with. Why didn't our press, or in what we call investigating report? No, they're more worried about something Trump said 30 years ago in a locker room.
Have you noticed that the Hillary campaign has stopped talking about Donald Trump saying that they're rigged? Because they know they are now. They know that. There's evidence of it.
Look at the other day with, what's her name, Donna Brazile.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, she got caught red-handed.
That's another old gal that's going to prison.
Well, that's right. anything illegal, these people got to be terribly shook up right now, especially when they see Trump with his polls rising. They were so confident
Oh,
there
yeah.
would be a slam dunk, they didn't worry about it.
Somebody said the other day that some of those women had bought their inaugural gowns. You know, well, I'm going to tell you something. You may be able to wear those gowns. Maybe you can put a little money toward the warden, and you can have a little ball inside the big house. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of them going to be facing that,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and there's a lot of them over there right now. I don't know. I'd probably be even thousands of people that are complicit in the conspiracy or whatever you want to call it, and it's almost it's treason. Because
Of course
they want
it
to do
is.
away with the Constitution. They want to, they want to do away with the Second Amendment. They wanted so many things that only way maybe you kind of really find out is you got to go read about what they said.
I was thinking of this
And
the other night.
why isn't the reporting of the mainstream, why don't like a guy like Lou Dobbs or somebody or investigative reporters informing the American public? No, they're actually advocates for Hillary Clinton, who is a criminal.
It is not the job of a journalist.
Of course.
You're supposed to put the
Right.
facts out there and let
Right.
the people make the decision. you
And
know?
then how in the world do they expect any kind of respect if they are enabling a criminal? In fact, maybe they're complicit.
Could be.
you
Would
know?
not surprise me at all.
I mean, if you commit a crime and I helped you, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm in trouble.
Sure you are.
I said, no, I didn't do that. Ray did. Yeah, but you helped him.
Yeah. You're as guilty as me, and we're going to share that
Well-
same cell.
Well, look at the press. Mainstream media press. They're enabling Hillary Clinton, and she is a bona fide criminal.
I was thinking the other day, and I was going to run this by you. I was thinking of one-word things. I mean, I was going to say, can you say obstruction of justice? Can you say perjury? I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Right.
And you said, must have been 7 or 8 shows back, you said, it just goes on and on and on. It never ends.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, you know.
But I think the exciting thing for the people to think about is the fact that Tuesday, if they haven't voted, they go down Tuesday and they vote for something that is a privilege in the sense, of course, it's a right, but they go down there and say, you know what, you could tell your grandkids and they could tell their grandkids
Very
someday
historic.
that, my God, a member of our family back in 2016 voted for us to remain free because we have a definite choice.
Yeah.
Just like I told that lady there about her choice back 160 years ago. If she had been given the choice, it was pretty easy for her to make that
Yeah.
choice. Right?
Why not make the same choice right now? It's the same situation.
Especially the fact that you didn't have to suffer like your ancestors did. You know what I mean? I mean,
There's really no choice, is there?
there
Gary?
really is no
You know?
choice. And then when you think about that too, you say, well, my God, obviously I'm an American. I'm glad I'm here and all that. But man, there's some people that suffered for me.
Doggone.
Why do I want to throw that out?
Absolutely. Let me echo something that you said a while back when you said this has gone beyond Donald Trump. It's gone beyond Hillary Clinton.
Absolutely.
It's gone beyond both of those. We're voting for our future. It's way beyond either one of those.
Yeah.
You have a choice.
In fact, when it does get into personality, the way I do it now, or if I'm talking to somebody, I say, no, because they'll start in saying, well, Donald did, well, he did too. I said, no, whoa, let's stay out of that.
Yeah.
Let's take the personalities out. Let's just put the paper down there, and it says, here's freedom, and here is subject of communism, which is basically a slave to communism. Now, what do you choose?
That's the direction we're headed.
Because you do have a choice. You can't sit there. No, don't tell me you didn't have a choice to be sitting there in that salt mine shoveling salt. You had a choice, and you took the wrong one.
choice. You made the wrong choice.
You made an unwise decision.
5 days, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to what Gary's saying.
And that's
5
all
days.
you got to do. You don't have to put in personality. Don't just get all that out. I don't care what color you are, race, creed, or whatever.
It doesn't
You
matter.
had a choice to be free. How come you took the choice not to be free?
Excuse me. I was thinking today, and I think I heard the question about the ability of Donald Trump to run this country, the ability of him to turn this thing around. He is the best businessman on the planet, You know, he can turn us around. He can point us toward prosperity, and he will do that. And I said before, you know, Donald Trump will not fail, and he'll do every single thing he says. And I'll tell you why, because Donald Trump has a big ego. He has a huge big ego, and Donald Trump is not going to fail Donald Trump. And guess who gets to win in the process? We do.
Well, the most powerful thing that I look at that he has the capability or the ability to do, which is important, which comes to judgment. Donald Trump doesn't build buildings all over the world and have them operating as they do and so forth without good people.
Absolutely.
And treating them right.
You're right.
Or they wouldn't be there.
That's right.
So he's got a reputation all over the world of having the best of this, the best of that, and he like that skating rink that he did in New York.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And the government took 8 years to try to get it, and they never did get it. Mm-hmm. $23 million later, the mayor calls Trump. Trump gets it done in 8 months, and
he gets
1.4.
things. Great point, Gary.
See,
he gets things done.
He knows who to choose, the right people.
I loved what he said today. You hear what he said today about Ford? He said they're going down there, they're building small cars down there.
Yeah.
And he said, that's just fine. He said, that's fine. That's their choice. However, when they want to import them cars into here, there's going to be a 35%
tariff
tax
on
that.
Yeah. But the point is that it's obvious that Trump requires a lot, but you're rewarded, or you wouldn't be working there.
Of course.
He gets the best people. So think about this for a moment. He's now president of the United States, and he needs this trade deal with somebody, or he needs this. He'll always keep getting the best people, not the people that donated because he doesn't need their money.
That's right. He doesn't have to pay any special interest.
No, I mean he doesn't have to be holding anybody. So he sits there. I don't care who you are. If somebody, the reason I'm there is because you paid me, Ray, and then you come over for a favor. I can't just sit. I'm not going to sit there and say, "Well, Ray, I forget about it. I don't know you, okay?" But Gary, hell, you. Look at all the money I paid you. Well, you got to do it, right? He doesn't have to do any of that. He can go hire this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy, because they're the best.
That's right.
Now, if that isn't a gift to the American people, to me, right
it's
there's
a perfect gift.
It's a common sense thing.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want somebody there that is? And you look at the evidence, Trump Towers and everything that he's done, and plus he's got a great. Well, we're in ag. He's got a grape ranch that's 2,600 acres. He didn't even talk about it. He's got a winery.
First time I heard about that. I did hear about Trump wine.
But in this what is that valley, Shenandoah Valley? So it's beautiful. I have a friend of mine went and seen it. You know, he says, it's gorgeous. He doesn't even talk about it, but he's got the best people running that. So if we're sitting there as citizens, knowing that whoever is doing whatever project. I don't care if it's a general of the Army, a general of the Air Force, flying an airplane or what. He's going to have the best.
You know, he reminds me of what back in the 1930s, they asked Henry Ford, they said, what makes you a genius? He says, I'm not a genius. I just surround myself with geniuses.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly what, I can't wait to see what his cabinet's going to look like. I'm excited to see who he's going to pick.
And who's not going to want to do it.
Yeah.
These are all people that he will pick that they don't have their hand out for something.
You know, Gary, he may not want to do it because he certainly served this country and served this country well. But I hope that Giuliani would accept something.
Well, I think he has plans for Giuliani.
I hope he does. We need him.
And
Newt Gingrich.
Right.
Oh, I'd love to see that man as Secretary of State.
He's got so many people out there that are the best. They're not going to be serving the United States because of the money. They're going to be serving the United States because the same reason Trump is, because they want to save it.
They want to save this country,
right.
And they believe in this country.
They're not somebody some hack that.
We ought to be, we ought to be giving our thanks every single
absolutely.
day, the whole country.
Can you imagine
that Donald Trump made this decision?
Well, can you imagine without it? Well, you see what it is right now, and going south in a handbasket.
Yeah.
I mean, going south.
Can you imagine if it had been Cruz or heaven forbid, Jeb Bush?
Oh, my Lord.
Jeb Bush is another, like you said.
Well, can you imagine then, if you think that's, which it is, but now imagine you had Hillary Clinton as your president.
Oh, like I said, much
I mean,
much
how
worse.
in the world can you even sit there? It's hard to even think about it. It's almost like you say, oh, man, I'd rather have my neighbor lady president.
Boy, I'm enjoying so much seeing her on the run because that's where she's at now. She's on the run.
She's ball and chain. That's for sure. And but it's all over. It's people. I got a friend of mine up in Alaska, and they talk people and so forth. And boy, they're so anxious to get Trump in there, and it's just all over the place.
I've got to say to all you people that really haven't decided, and when you're sitting there and you're trying to make up your mind what you're going to do next Tuesday on the 8th, think about this. Think about the fact that as Gary said, you really don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. There is no choice. I mean, you've seen the evidence against Hillary Clinton. Why would you vote for someone who's going to be indicted and ultimately impeached? Because that's what's going to happen. Why put anybody through that? Vote for Donald Trump. Donald Trump will turn this country around.
Well, what'll happen if it, like the impeachment, it would stagnate the country?
Absolutely.
Ray, man, we're at a debt right now that it has never been higher.
Over $20 trillion.
And that's double what all the other presidents ever done. Obama's done that. We don't have that kind of a luxury to sit around and go through that process. Somebody's better get something done, because all of a sudden says, no, wait a minute, you guys better get your act together.
Someone broke that debt down into it's close to $60,000 for every man,
Right.
woman, and child in the United States.
Right. Now,
Now,
that-
you and I could probably come
Yeah.
up with our 60, but how many people couldn't?
well, the thing is too is that look at the jeopardy that puts it in. I mean, it's got to get straightened out. And if you're going to be really honest with yourself, forget about being honest with anybody else. Just yourself. Mm-hmm. Just look in the mirror and say, well, you guess what? I just can't see voting for anybody but Trump right now.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Because that's the only thing that makes sense. Now, you say, well, I don't like him. Well, fine, you don't like him. You didn't like that guy that, when your car was broke down, you didn't like that guy that fixed it, did you? No, I didn't. But he fixed it.
Yeah, but he fixed it.
And that's all you care.
That's absolutely. That's a great analogy.
So why worry about the personalities?
Yeah. It's like I said a long time ago, and Gary was on my show the day I said it, and I said, I don't care what Donald Trump says. I really don't. I don't care. I care what Donald Trump is going to do. That's what's important to me. That is the bottom line. What is he going to do to benefit me? Well, and that's the way I want you to think.
Well, here's another thing. You look at the crowds he's getting. Mm-hmm. Okay, now compare that to the Clinton crowds.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and Trump has the knack to attract top people. That's what you're seeing at his rallies.
Yes, you are.
What are you seeing down there at Hillary's?
A lot of riffraff.
A lot of miserable people, psychologically unfit. I mean, there's something wrong with them.
You're absolutely right.
When you sit there and say, I'm going to, by God, vote for this criminal, and I'm going to vote for this liar. I know she lies every time. And you're going to do that? It's not about her. It's about you.
Yeah.
And now you got to ask yourself, there's something wrong with you.
Donald Trump's going to be great for this country, ladies and gentlemen. And there's another thing. I thought about this the other day. I've heard people, I hate it when people come up to me and they say, well, he may be the best of both evils. Let me tell you something. Donald Trump stood on the stage not even 2 years ago. He stood on the stage with 17 other people. There was 18, I think, all total. And he prevailed all this time in less than 2 years. What does that tell you about this man? Isn't that the kind of man you want running for president? Someone who's never, ever, ever going to give up? It reminds me a lot of Winston Churchill.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's never been a president in the history of the United States ever been attacked as much as he has, and he's still prevailed.
And he's still standing, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. He is still standing.
Because I wouldn't have blamed him if he'd have sat there one day and says, you know what? I've had it. I'm going back to my tower, and we're going to build some more buildings around the world. Yeah. You guys take care. It was nice.
Donald Trump doesn't need this. Yeah. He doesn't need this at all. He's doing this for the betterment of this country. We're going to take a little break here, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in two. I'm back with my great guest, Gary, and Gary and I were talking while we were on commercial break, and we. For all you undecided, for all you people that you just don't understand, like Gary said, let's throw Hillary out of it. Let's throw Donald out of it.
Right. And what you're deciding here is the difference between whether you want to have a free republic or a communist-style government-controlled government. And the evidence is already there that we've been heading in for a number of years, beginning maybe even 50 years ago, into slowly into a government-controlled every aspect of your life. As an example, maybe it's Thursday between 4 and 5 it's your turn to go down to the grocery store and get groceries. Nope, you can't go any other time.
How awful would that be?
And that's the way it was in every communist country. Just that alone. I mean, we go on and on. You see, and so we're talking about a freedom to pursue our own ambitions and our own happiness, but with that comes a responsibility and accountability. And if you'll notice the difference between Hillary Clinton right off the get-go and anybody else is that she's all about excuse and blame.
Yes.
When does she ever come up with the responsibility and the accountability? And I think that woman, there's a certain evil there in that woman, and you could kind of see it at times as an example when this Gaddafi overthrow of Libya. She was instrumental in that. In fact, arms were supplied to which turned out to be ISIS to overthrow Gaddafi. Well, they killed him, and it's a human being. Mm-hmm. And actually, he was running the country just like Saddam Hussein.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
At the same time, we didn't have to worry about any ISIS or anything like that, or Al Qaeda.
No.
All right, because he kept them out. Mm-hmm. Well, she laughed, and I'm thinking, oh wait, that's not right. And then when those 500,000 babies they claim or kids in Syria starved to death, that was just part of the process. That small price to pay, and you catch that a little bit now and then, right?
Yeah.
And then she sits there and she let's talk about that Gaddafi deal. I mean that is a big deal.
Yes, it was a big deal.
And she received a lot of money with that deal.
It just goes like it. I would love to know how much money's in that foundation.
Well, you hear numbers all over the place, 150, 350 million or something like that. And but how did she get her money? Let's look at Trump. Look at all the money he's got. But how did he get it?
He got most of it through real estate and great investments.
Well, because he got it by producing something.
Sure, he did.
Making something. She got it by nothing but criminality.
Where else would you go from $250,000 to a net worth, they say, in excess of $250 million?
Well, it's being talked about right now, and I will give her credit for this. It is considered a good potential of being the largest money laundering crime in the history of the United States, and that includes the mafia and Al Capone and all the rest.
Oh, my goodness.
That's her accomplishment.
I didn't know that, Gary. That is astronomical. You want to vote for this lady?
Well, no, on top of that, what? I mean, what's wrong with her head? And she thinks she should be the president of the United States? Now, would she change anything? Yeah, she changed. She even get more power, more rich, because her interest is to be power of the world. And the United States, in her mind, is a colony of the globalists. So the United States, instead of being no borders, let all those people in.
Sure, just like she wants to do.
What she's doing is she is letting all those. How many of those are ISIS? We don't know. She doesn't know. Maybe all of them.
That's right. I'll bet you.
Well, if you read the Quran, it is all of them. And now, what's the purpose? That's a silent invasion. Against what? They certainly don't believe what you do. They certainly don't want to assimilate. They certainly want their law, not ours. They certainly want the Constitution thrown out.
Why in the world would you vote for somebody that's going to get impeached anyway? Hillary Clinton is going to jail, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
She is going to jail.
Well, you look at the abortions, and I mean, she's all for that. And you're talking about...
In the 9th month.
And she doesn't have any qualm about that. 9th month, I mean, you think of, I mean, where is her conscience? She has none. Where's her heart? She has none. That woman is possessed by an evil something.
They say that greed is probably one of the worst of all the deadly sins because it's so addictive.
Well, it's greed and power. In her case, you can just see it in her.
Yeah.
You can just see it in her. She's so shallow in a sense, and I look at the like the minorities. She doesn't give any more about the minorities.
Of course she does. She comes around every 4 years, offers some trinkets, and you don't see them for 4 years. The liberals have always done that.
I don't see anything that she ever has any. She doesn't demonstrate compassion to anything. She doesn't. she doesn't even, her persona doesn't.
Well, she's a very passionate liar, huh?
Oh my God! I mean, well, it's lying is something that is just part of it, and she doesn't even care anymore, or she probably never did. Lie after lie after lie, you know. But I'm disappointed in the sense that there would be so many Americans that don't see that, and I kind of get I get to the point where I sit there and I say, well, there's something wrong with them.
I think what you said earlier comes into play. The fact that they've been mesmerized is a word, or hypnotized, you know, and the media did that. The media continues
that's
to do
powerful,
that.
you know.
Yeah, they're very powerful. People tend to believe what they see on
Well,
television.
and do they see it
believe what
often enough?
Absolutely. If you
You
hear
know.
it every single, that's how Hitler became so powerful.
Exactly.
You
Mussolini.
know? All of them. Yeah.
And if you look at her and some of her actions recently, like right now today, she looks like, sounds like a Mussolini or a Hitler. Boy, she's losing it.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
she's pointing her finger and
She got really upset with
oh
that heckler.
my gosh, you know. And I'm thinking, wait a minute.
And I cracked up when she said, "I'm sick and tired." I said, "Lady, we're the ones that's sick and tired.
Oh, my Lord.
The American people are
Yeah.
the ones that's sick and tired." You know.
That I mean, of course, I knew about those people been there in Arkansas, and that's going way back. When
Oh,
they
I
were
remember you
governor.
said
Yeah.
when he was governor. Yeah.
And I mean, I thought, well, there's no way. I didn't think there was any way those people would ever become president. But then I didn't think there
You
was
must
any
have
way
been- you must
Obama
have-
would be president.
You must have really been shocked.
Well, it really kind
Or did you think because of he had such ambition and such greed that usually those people get pretty far?
I thought.
Eventually,
I didn't think the American people were that naive. Is
Oh,
really
okay.
what I thought.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And just like when Obama, I said, well, I don't care. Can't they people see through that? And I remember getting in an argument up there with a friend of mine in Nevada over that. And he said, no, I think he'll bring the people together. I
Yeah,
said,
well.
no, that's not what his intention. His intention is to divide it more, as it's turning out to be. Never has the country been this divided, and he's purposely dividing it.
These are the worst race relations time I've known in my lifetime.
Oh,
I've
me
never
too.
known, I have never known.
Yeah.
You know, way back in what 64, 65 watts, all that, the
Right.
demonstrations and the burning, doesn't even come close to what we have.
Right.
I mean, we've got 95% African Americans. 95% of African Americans are killed by other blacks.
Yeah. And
That is
well-
that is just astounding. 95%.
Well, and just like I told that lady yesterday, I said, now that alone, just that alone, and the fact that Hillary wants to take away your chance to protect yourself.
Second Amendment.
She says, well, she lives, she says, I live in fear right now.
Sure.
It's happening right here. She said that. And I said, well, do you have a gun? She says, absolutely. I said, well, Hillary will take that thing away from me, and then where are you?
She wants to disarm America.
She wants to
That's a part of the. That's a part of the.
Well, that's
a
what
major
all
part.
communist countries, all communist regimes, that's the first thing they do.
Of
is
course they
disarm.
do, because
Yeah.
then they don't. There's no. They take away the threat.
They take away. Well, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take another short break. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Okay, we're back. We're gonna have to close here real quick, and like I always do, first thing I'm gonna do is put Gary on the spot and make him promise to come back.
Well, listen, we got to come back after the victory, right?
Oh heck yeah, the victory next Thursday. Listen, I always end the show by talking about our law enforcement officers, and I was particularly hurt by what, as I'm sure you were, by what happened. And I want to say to those slain officers' families and all the slain officers across this great nation, we applaud your bravery, gentlemen, and we salute your innate sense of right, and we honor and bless your eternal memory. That really had an effect on me. So until we meet joyously again, ladies and gentlemen, next Thursday, and I proclaim that I was right about Donald Trump, heaven's blessings.
NeutralValleyTalk.com.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.